Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Family Sedan channel. You know, we now have about 10 years worth of XRP price history, and I'm going to share with you the price of XRP, what it was on Christmas for 10 data points now. I mean, technically, we won't have the one for this year, 2022, for another couple days, but close enough. And it's just fascinating to take a look at what has unfolded, and I want to make a broader point about that. Because to me, what's been happening, is not weird. None of it. The price action over the last decade, yes, admittedly, extremely volatile. We're talking crypto, most volatile asset class on the planet, which is why I'm interested in it, because volatility is the purpose of investing. And there you go. And obviously, crypto's been an upward trend since its inception, despite major pullbacks, and we're in a major pullback right now. Fine, but my gosh, like the the direction that we've been heading. Unless you think crypto is going to cease to exist, what a time to be alive. And so I'll get to that. But I also want to dispel some strange ideas here about what's causing the current price of XRP. And here's a headline from the Crypto Basic. Uncertainty over Ripple case leaves XRP in a tight range. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, as I record this, XRP is 35 cents, Bitcoin 16,796, market cap for the asset class 819 billion, and Bitcoin dominance at 39.43%. Crypto fear and greed index at 27 out of 100. And here's the headline from the Crypto Basic again: uncertainty over Ripple case leaves XRP in a tight range. I keep seeing headlines like this, and nothing against the Crypto Basic. I think they do a fine job. It just in a general sense, no outlet's perfect. They make mistakes, and sometimes I see weird things about how they word Ripple and XRP. Some of it's getting a little conflaty and stuff like that, but not from every author. And I don't think that there's any intent, to be disparaging against XRP or XRP holders or even Ripple. But this perspective, I'm just going to respectfully push back against because I don't think it makes sense. I think that all the evidence shows that currently XRP is moving in tandem with the rest of the market. It is fair to argue, perhaps since XRP surged, it's reasonable to speculate, I believe anyway, that the reason that XRP jumped up when it was, whatever the price range was, I can't remember if it was in the high 20-something cent range to, over 50 cents. When it did that within the last few months or so, again, maybe it started in November. I'd have to look back at the chart. It doesn't matter for the sake of this video, but the point is, when it did that, it was reasonable to speculate that that might have had something to do with the motions for summary judgment in the SEC v. Ripple case being filed, because when you look at the SEC's motion for summary judgment versus Ripple's, it resulted in a ton of confidence, hopefully rightly placed. I'm optimistic too. We don't know for sure the case is going to end and what the judge will rule. But I think that did result in a whole bunch of confidence, and XRP price did rally. Would it have done that without that feeling of confidence? I don't know. And it's not because XRP is dependent upon Ripple. It's because the price of XRP is dependent upon the SEC, which is very different. The toxic Bitcoin maxi trolls make it out as when the price of XRP tanked after the lawsuit. See, that's because it was associated with Ripple. I'm like, oh, hell no, it's not. It's associated with the SEC action. It's the SEC behavior that caused this. And so if the price is going to go up, and if it has gone up recently because of expectations as a result of that, it's not because of Ripple. It's because of the asshats at the SEC and them having a poor case. That's what I think. So to state anything other than that, though, in terms of XRP being in the tight range that it's in right now, hovering around 35 cents, it's just been moving with the rest of the crypto markets. And so to indicate that has something to do with the case, I just think they're missing a mark on that, so I wanted to point it out. But as far as historic XRP price action, I just thought this would be fun to highlight since we got Christmas coming up here. XRP community member Crypto Bull shared this tweet. And he wrote, XRP Christmas price throughout the years on December 25th. And again, of course, I know it's 2 days before Christmas this year, but we've got close to 10 years worth of data on actual open price XRP market activity, which is pretty cool. XRP's been around a while. XRP's going to be a teenager soon. Those are going to be the troublesome years, right? But look at this. For those of you looking at the screen, you can already see. Because XRP started trading at some point in the early portion of 2013 on exchanges. Before that, it was worth zero because nobody had bought or sold it, so it didn't have a market price. It was worth nothing, literally zero. But then it started trading. And by the end of 2013, on December 25th, Christmas specifically, Crypto Bull reports that XRP was worth 0.028 cents, not even three full pennies. And I'm going to take Crypto Bull's word that these prices were accurate. Nothing looks wacky here, so I'm sure he's right. I didn't happen to fact check this, but I looked at it, I was like, yeah, that looks about right. So even if it were off technically, it's like, okay, what's your source? Maybe we're splitting hairs here because people, different entities pull data in different ways. But anyway, so less than 3 pennies after being traded for a little bit less than a year. And you can see that it was volatile, sure. I mean, even, fast forward a few years, it was worth way less than 2.8 cents. You go to 2016 on Christmas, it was worth 0.006 cents. That's barely over half a penny. It went from almost 3 cents to worth about half a penny. That's extreme volatility. I understand in terms of the number of pennies, it doesn't sound like a lot, but in terms of percentage differences, it's gigantic. You're seeing those levels of giganticness in terms of percentage increases and drops today still. But now when it trades, it's not just pennies. It can be, a number of dimes. Throw a few dimes down in short order. It has been by a number of dollars, in fact, because we saw XRP got up to close to $4 in 2018. But the point that I wanted to make here is that for those first 5 years, if you were holding from the beginning, it did take close to 5 years to see that dramatic rally. And so given that we saw XRP peak on January 4th, a little shy of $4. It's been almost 5 years since we've hit that. And we're also in a bear market right now, so it doesn't mean that right after that we're going to see XRP fly. But I wanted to point out that for the first 5 years, from 2013 through the next 5 years after, beginning part of 2018, XRP was trading range bound, and then yes, it ultimately hit that all-time high close to $4, but it was range bound. Extremely volatile and range bound, and it shook so many people out of the market over the span of that half a decade in its earliest of years. And what I'm articulating to you is, it's just my opinion, and I sure as hell looks right to me. The second set of 5 years, which is to say the last 5 years roughly, it's been doing the same damn thing. We haven't seen a new all-time high yet, but it's been volatile AF. Wouldn't you expect it to be? Isn't that the reason that we're here? And so the fact that it went from $2 in April of 2021, so 1 year and 9 months ago-ish, something like that, whatever it's been. The fact that it did that, and then it got down to as low as, if my memory serves, 28 cents, that has nothing to do with the long-term viability of XRP. The fact that it went down has nothing. It is not an indicator in and of itself as to whether or not XRP is going to be worth an absolute fortune in the future. I think it has nothing to do with that. These ideas are unrelated, but people see price go down, they just assume it's going to do that forever, and then they get shaken up. And so this is not me telling you to buy or sell or hold. This is my unprofessional opinion that I'm just observing what's happened, and I suspect that humans are going to more or less continue to behave like this. And I feel confident and sleep easy holding XRP because I know it actually solves real problems for real people and businesses. And as long as it's doing that, I'm not going to worry about the short-term price fluctuations. Some of the crap coins I hold, and I actually do hold some that I'm not convinced are going to make it long haul. Some of those ones that I hold, it's kind of like I'm engaging in nothing but the greater fool theory. Fine, admittedly so. I bought a lot of them in like 2017, whatever. And if they go to zero, they go to zero. That's fine. I really don't care that much, to be honest with you. But I'm just saying, since the market moves in tandem, they could be worth way more. And if so, great. Maybe I'll eventually finally cash out and turn that into United States dollars. And if it never happens, fine, whatever. But since XRP is useful, even if the volatility occurs to the negative side, as it has on and off for its entire existence, what the hell do I care? I think it's going to be worth a fortune in the future. The idea that XRP will never hit a new all-time high is just ridiculous to me. And I don't know what's going to happen with the SEC v. Ripple case. That could make things extra terrible and scary. I'm not pretending there's no risk. Of course, there's substantial risk investing in anything, especially cryptocurrencies, including XRP. I think it's just fair. It's not to scare people. I just think I'm acknowledging risk. But again, I'd have more trouble sleeping at night if I didn't hold XRP personally anyway. Now, as far as where we're going to be going over the next year or so, well, maybe we already saw the bottom, as I've been stating publicly for some time. I don't know, because the contagion spreading, the whole FTX thing, the idea of that not spreading further than it already has, okay, maybe, but I'm skeptical of the idea that we've already seen the brunt of it. I still don't know what happens with Genesis, which is a major firm used for all sorts of institutional level firms, including exchanges like Gemini. And that impacted them, and they had to halt with withdrawals for their Gemini Earn program. So we don't know how that's going to shake out. The market's probably still waiting to react, I would think. That's what it looks like to me. But there are other considerations as well. What's happening with the Fed? And so there's this story from the Daily Hodl titled, "One Catalyst Could Trigger Crazy Crypto Rally in 2023, According to Coin Bureau." A popular crypto analyst says the crypto market could see a massive rally in 2023 depending on the actions of the US Federal Reserve. In a new YouTube strategy session, this anonymous host of Coin Bureau tells his 2.18 million subscribers that a crypto bull rally is contingent on whether the Fed pulls back on rate hikes next year. And so I'll pause and note, as far as I know, Coin Bureau, they actually are the largest YouTube channel, crypto YouTube channel on the entire planet. And as far as this idea of the market responding based on what the Fed does, that's a sad reality. Now, equities have always responded, to what the Fed is doing. The market's paying attention. And it's just the case that crypto is getting treated by speculators the same way. So as a result, just in a general sense, crypto markets tend to move in tandem with equities. It just happens. That's provably the case. And that's why watching what the Fed does will give you an indicator of perhaps what we're going to see. Because the Fed isn't going to go in one direction forever as it pertains to rate hikes. It is unusual what we've seen for basically the entirety of 2022 from what the Fed's been doing, but also they printed the dollar into oblivion, resulting in outrageous inflation. So it's not surprising that they're reacting, but in terms of increasing the rates, no, at some point, as everybody keeps noting, there will be a pivot. And that is true, actually. It's just kind of a question of when. But when that happens, markets rejoice. And there are other considerations, too. I mean, if the economy's actually in the dump, then okay, fine. But that's why I'm saying, there's obviously a lot of moving parts to all this, which is why I like to talk about random parts impacting all of this, over the period of time we're running this channel, frankly. I've been doing it for years. Anyway, the piece continues. Guy says the Fed pausing interest rate hikes is one of the most important catalysts that could end the bear market. He says that the Fed is likely to pivot, even though Powell said at the last Fed meeting on December 14th that they may need to raise the rate beyond 5% to tame inflation. The Fed raised rates this month by a half point after a series of other rate hikes this year, moving the economy towards a recession. The increase brought the rate into the range of 4.25% to 4.5%, the highest in about 15 years. And by the way, I'll just pause to note, in terms of whether or not we're in a recession, who's in charge of deciding what the definition of that is? I've covered this on the channel before, so I'm only going to be brief on this, but some may not have heard what I had to say about this. There's an organization that was pointed to, and I don't recall the name off the top of my head, that the White House is pointing to and trying to indicate that we're not in a recession. But if you live in the United States and you've just lived for the last several decades, I'm 39. I've been living for almost 4 whole decades at this point. I just know it is the case that the way humans speak about recession is that if there are 2 back-to-back quarters of negative growth in terms of GDP, that's a recession. Politicians on the left and the right have always abided by that. They always have. In terms of whether or not recession, there's just disagreement. Until this time. Now there's disagreement. I'm just noting that. So when they're citing here, could move us into a recession, well, we're not in a recession if you say the thing that everybody else agreed was a recession is no longer a recession, but you're just redefining a word then. You're redefining what the word means to the populace. And there is no entity that really has the authority to decide what that is technically, which is why it's so hard to get opposing sides to agree on whether or not we're in a recession. But in terms of the historical definition that the populace has been using for decades, we are. So if you don't want to go by that definition, then okay, by your definition, then we are not. That's why it's so stupid. So many times debating people on any number of topics in life, people talk past one another because they're not even willing to use the same definition when debating stuff. And a lot of times people don't even realize, when they're debating stuff, that they are using different definitions. Now, in this case, I think it's intentional. I think they're intentionally, using what I would call basically a new definition of what a recession is. That's what it looks like. But a lot of people talk past one another just in everyday life on any number of topics about what something is something true, is something not true, because they have different ideas about what the definition of that thing is. It happens all the time. Next time you disagree with somebody, whatever it is you're disagreeing about, make sure you understand, like you agree upon the facts, like the indisputable facts first, and then make sure you throw in their definitions of words. Because you may very well find that maybe you don't disagree as much as you thought you did. It's just that there's insufficient communication. There's a lack of clarity that results in this untrue sense that you actually do agree with one another. And so that's happening here all the time. But here's the quote from Guy, who is the guy, that's the name of the guy. Guy is the name of the guy who runs Coin Bureau. And on this topic, he had a quote that reads as follows. There's no guarantee that the Fed will manage to raise interest rates all the way up to 5% or more. This is because the higher the interest rates go, the higher the likelihood that something in the financial system will break, end quote. Yeah, so I agree with Guy from Coin Bureau so frequently. So frequently. I just think he's wrong about a ton of stuff. I'm respectfully disagree. Nothing against him personally. Just about all the damn time. Anytime I've covered. Now, in this case, though, I don't think what he's saying is particularly wacky. I don't pretend to know when the Fed will pivot, but I do want to note that what's happening right now is exceedingly rare. And so there's this website that what's on your screen right now is Bankrate, the Bankrate website. And they have this little subheading, the federal funds rates journey through history. The U.S. Central Bank is hiking interest rates by the fastest pace in a single year since the 1980s, taking its benchmark borrowing rate to levels not seen since 2008. And they got a little chart on the screen for those of you that care to look. I mean, you can look at how this has just been all over the place. Like, in fact, if you look at 1980, July 1st, 1980, federal funds rate, 9.03%. And then you go to just barely, about a year and a half later, 1980, December 1st, 1980, it went from that to 18.9%. That's right. So from about 9% to about 19%. So I'm not saying there haven't been quick changes, but if you're looking at this chart, you can see that they don't happen that frequently. And this was a really fast one. We haven't seen anything even close to this since the 80s. And, you know, there is such a thing as overcorrecting. At some point, the Fed, they will pivot. I don't pretend to know when, but that is something the market will respond positively to. I just don't know when that's going to come. But all that to say, so again, it's another piece of the puzzle. Beware of. There's so many moving parts. There's just a couple I'm talking about in this video. But I'm telling you, the markets don't stay down forever. There is something to crypto. It is useful. There are business models that are valuable that couldn't exist without decentralized cryptocurrencies existing, which also have open market prices. This is a certainty. This is already known. That's not a question mark. We already know that for sure. We just don't know for sure which cryptocurrencies will be adopted over the long haul, but the ones that are going to be worth an absolute fortune. And even in the short term, I'm still counting on the market to move in tandem. Not forever, but for now, it still is. Which is why I think that even a bunch of the crap coins that will cease to exist, at least for now, they're still moving in tandem too. So I'm just going to sit tight and hold, and there are better days yet ahead. It's the same message that I had 4 years ago when I started this channel in 2018. I believe the same thing back then. Better days are yet ahead. This is just a bear market. So here we are 4 years after I started the channel. We're in another one. So what? Things get better, folks. This is the time to play. This is a reason that I'm excited and happy still to be running this YouTube channel, despite everybody being just, emotionally miserable. I'm not. I'm having a great time. I love running this channel. I love being invested in this stuff. It's incredibly interesting. It's the opportunity of a lifetime as far as I'm concerned. It is what it is, folks. So kudos to you for paying attention as always. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say, right? That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Family Sedan.